morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Papa. I'm Granddad.
I'm Kathy.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Callie, tell them what's happening this morning.
The Christmas is starting to hatch.
The butterflies are coming out?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I'm excited. We can start to release some.
Yeah, we're gonna release them soon, but we gotta let them all come out yet. Can I see a butterfly dance? Callie wanted me to show you guys. Right there is a butterfly that's already come out, and then it's kind of hard to see, but the middle chrysalis down there on the bottom is getting ready to come out. It just broke the chrysalis open, so probably within about 20-25 minutes we'll be having some more butterflies.
There's more coming out?
Yeah.
See it. We'll see it.
Yeah, I want to see. Don't worry. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. As you can see, we are having a pretty eventful morning here on the farm. Not only do we have chrysalises turning into caterpillars, but we've also got the farm market all set up and ready to go. And we had to get up early and load up some cattle, and Dad is taking care of all of that. Yesterday, we were kicking around the idea of getting some hay mown down. We were kicking it back and forth. Should we do it? Shouldn't we do it? We didn't end up doing it. And then later on into the evening, it started raining. So we all felt like we made a good decision. However, because we didn't mow hay yesterday, we're more than likely gonna be mowing some hay down today. I think Joel is gonna be working on that, which is a good thing because we've got some planting that really needs to get done. Not this stuff in the germination greenhouse. I just wanted to come up and look at it, make sure that nothing needed to be watered. It all looks really, really good. And it's starting to get some nice size to it. It's not ready to be planted just yet, which is a good thing because we just got our first plantings put into the soil. But you give us a few more weeks here and these peppers and tomatoes, they'll have to get kicked out and get planted. Now, since we are just getting started with our day, we are gonna head down around back and get the chores all taken care of. Good morning, good morning. What's going on over here, huh? What do we have going on over here? Back up, ladies, I'm coming in. Excuse me. Ooh, freshly laid. Ah, no escaping. What's up, little meow meow kitty? I always forget which side the seatbelt's on. Just got finished off with the chickens and the cattle. Dad has just gotten back from hauling the cattle, so he is working on taking care of the calves. I made my way into greenhouse number 5 because I wanted to recap what we've been doing for the past few weeks and just share some information with any new viewers that we have. Now, if you've been watching, you know that we've been doing a lot of transplanting here on the farm. When it comes to the first planting of all of our fruits and vegetables, we're basically finished except for what we have in the greenhouse right here. Now, it's not time to get started with second planting yet, but we are getting closer every day. So we really want to get this stuff moved out of the greenhouse. And that's why for the past few weeks, we've been doing a lot of planting and laying biomulch and doing more planting, all with the goal of getting this stuff in the soil, out of our greenhouse, and getting first planting taken care of. But you guys know you can't just do one job on the farm. While we've been getting our first planting into the ground, we've also been working on a lot of hay crop. With those two jobs tying together, it's been kind of hectic. However, today we're hoping to get the last of that first planting in the soil, and then we will be done worrying about it. And then we will have greenhouse number 6 and greenhouse number 5 basically empty, which gives us an opportunity to get our mums moved into this greenhouse. Yeah, I know, it's time to start mums. It's just jumping from one big job to another around here. Before we even need to worry about that though, we need to get the plants moved out. So we got our water tank completely filled up, and we need to get hooked up to our transplanter. Then we'll be good to go. We're getting our peppers loaded onto our wagon, and then when we come over here to our planter, we got something different on here. We got a few different types of squash. We got some honey nut squash, butternut squash, things like that. We do have a few trays of tomatoes on top that we don't want to go to waste from our first planting, and then all the peppers and a little bit of eggplant on our wagon. We just had our 2-foot spacing wheel on because the last time that we were planting, we were doing pumpkins. Now we're putting our 15-inch spacing on. And we're starting off with a single row for a lot of the squash and the tomatoes. And we're also gonna do the eggplant in single row, but by the time we finish off all that stuff, we're gonna be moving into double row. We're just waiting on Daniel to get here, and then we'll get started. The first set of things that we're gonna be planting is going right onto bare ground. So normally when you use this planter, you do it in the biodegradable mulch. However, this acorn squash, the spaghetti squash, and then we have some specialty stuff up here on the back. These all would do better on bare ground, and it just so happens that right below it, this is where our pumpkins are planted. So we have pumpkins over here, and then we have pumpkins all in this. It may not look like much now, but give it some time. It'll look really good. So we're just gonna be putting this stuff on the edge of the pumpkin ground, and it should do just fine. Normally we do it with a different type of planter, but this is what we got, so this is what we're gonna use. I got a call from my wife. Callie was very excited. 3 more butterflies have come out of their chrysalises. So we're just waiting on one more. She is excited. This little butterfly journey, it's been something for her. So I'm starting with some pumpkins. These are a larger variety of pumpkin, so we're hoping they're gonna do really good. I just gotta make sure that I can get the plant down into the soil, which is not gonna be easy here on the edge, but we'll do what we can. You hit me in the head. All right, hold up, Dad. Wait, I got 2 more plants. All right. Hey, ho! Oh! We just got a few different types of pumpkins planted. We got acorn squash, some honey nuts, some butternut squash, and then what was the last one? Spaghetti. I'm trying to think. Spaghetti squash. So we put that right all along the edge of the pumpkin field, and when we ran out of room, we just added on to this last row of mulch. Now we still have water and we still have plants on here, but we don't want to be putting the tomatoes in this exact spot. We want to move up the hill a little bit. So we're running back to the truck. We're gonna get filled up with water. We're gonna get filled up with plants, and then we're gonna hop back into transplanting. As you all have seen throughout the year, we've done a lot of transplanting and a lot of seeding back at the home farm. And what happens when we have a lot of plants is that sometimes you're not able to sell them all, or they get too big to sell. On the back of the planter right now, we have some eggplant that is dealing with that very problem. The eggplant is very nice, but it's not gonna sell. I mean, look at that stuff, it's beautiful, but like I said, it's not gonna sell. So rather than just throwing out anything that we can't sell, or just getting rid of it, we decide to plant it. That way, in the end, we're still benefiting off of something that we seeded. Now, it can be a little more difficult to plant it this way, especially when it's in trays that are made for sales, but we just have to go a little slower, and ultimately, it's just gonna benefit us in the long run because we're saving these plants. Because as you can see, nothing wrong with the plant, they're just not in the right pot. The last of the large eggplant. Now we just have these smaller 98s that we had seeded just for us. So these are a lot easier to plant. You can go a lot faster and you have less to worry about. So right now we're just doing a standard black or purple eggplant. It all depends on where you're from, on what people call it. However, the standard eggplant that we're doing is very, very popular around this area. And we seem to raise and sell a lot of it. Hence the reason why we're planting so much. Something I will say, weather is much cooler today. Was not expecting that. And the water, oh, it's also cold. Makes the hands go numb after a little bit of time. As long as the sun stays out and it doesn't get windy like it has been the past couple days, I think we'll be fine. But if it gets cloudy and windy, it starts to get a little chilly out here. So Daniel, what have you been up to this morning so far?
Loaded cows up this morning and I went for produce at the wholesale.
Now, an interesting thing about our eggplant is we used to do double rows of eggplant and we do 15-inch spacing. Now, it worked really well. We get a lot of eggplant. However, as we got later on into the season, we started noticing problems with disease. Hey, cabbage moth, get out of here. We started noticing problems with disease. So what we ended up doing was switching to a single row so that there was enough air around the eggplant. And as you guys know, when you don't have enough oxygen around your plants, well, you're gonna be susceptible to disease, and that's what we were noticing. Now that problem has been a thing in the past since we switched to single row. So sometimes I get asked why we do single rows of certain types of crops and why we do double rows of others. And that's just the biggest reason. Sometimes the plants grow a little bit too large, which is like tomatoes, why we do single rows, but with our peppers, we're able to do double rows. And speaking of eggplant, we are now finished with planting eggplant. We've got enough, so now we're moving on to tomatoes. We're gonna be starting off with Biltmore. They've been making any good food lately?
We made banana bread last week.
How was your banana bread? Was it good?
Yeah.
I love banana bread. So my job on this side of the planter, planting left-handed today, is to make sure that we have enough water inside each hole for when we put our plants in. Now the reason for having enough water is so that the plant has a better start and that the plant can get rooted a little more quicker than it would be if we didn't have water in the soil. So it's a big job, but Daniel and I have to communicate, because when we're doing double wheel, he has to let me know if he has enough water in each one of his holes, and if we have too much or too less, we need to stop what we're doing. We have to stop everything and adjust the water, because if we don't adjust the water, we could either, one, go through our water too quickly and be wasting water, or two, we could not be using enough, and it would just be detrimental to the plants in the long run. So on my side, that's something I have to be concerned about, and Daniel just told me to turn the water up, so I wasn't doing my job right. Can you believe that? Keep me in check, Daniel. Keep me in check. Make sure I'm doing it right.
I will.
You will? Good man. Now for tomatoes, the next thing we're going to be moving on to is a new hybrid that we're trying. Haven't talked too much about it because we want to make sure that it's a nice hybrid before we continue mentioning it, because sometimes when we mention stuff, people plant it, and if it doesn't do well for them, well, we don't want to upset them. So we've also got Red Deuce here, and then what is over here?
Red Snapper.
Red Snapper. All the varieties here are round tomatoes, and I think they're gonna do just fine for what we need. So I'm gonna help Dad get our planter all loaded up, and we're grabbing Red Snapper. Oh, I guess I'm sitting on the right side now. Now, as you just saw from that one row, my dad keeps it pretty steady about the whole way, right down the center of the row, which is a good thing because our drip line underneath is right here, and it's like that the entire length of the row. So by Dad staying center, he's not driving over that drip line, he's not puncturing it, and he's not gonna give us any problems. And when I mean it saves us a lot of headaches, right now it's not that big of a problem, but when we start fixing up our water lines, then it's a problem because we get holes punched in everything. Now we're done with our first new hybrid variety. Now we're moving on to Red Snapper. We planted Red Snapper for, I think, the first time either last year or the year before, and we really liked it. So we're doing it again this year. Red Snapper round tomatoes. Now something I wanted to mention, you notice from that sped up clip that Dad was staying pretty center in the row. Did you also notice we didn't miss a single one? That's what happens when you get two professionals on the back of this thing. You got Daniel and myself, and even when I'm planted left-handed, we do a pretty good job. I don't know, I could just watch tomatoes being planted all day, but I might be crazy. Crazy for tomatoes. Salsa, marinara, fresh tomato sandwiches, tomatoes with salt on them. This is such a good time. Spinning around. Hold on, don't want to fall off again. You ever fallen off? No. Yeah, I have. They laughed at me. Now, funny enough, we had originally planned to get these peppers planted, but then when we found out we had those pumpkins and we had some leftover acorn squash, all the squashes, leftover eggplant, we decided single wheel was the way to go. And once we got finished with all that stuff, we were like, we could do tomatoes because we already have the single wheel on. And yeah, we ended up starting the second planting of tomatoes. Probably earlier than we would have wanted to, but I mean, they're planting really nice. So yeah, we didn't get peppers planted today. Maybe this afternoon, maybe? No, it's probably not gonna happen. Oh man, but that's okay, it's not the end of the world. Maybe we can get peppers planted another day. Hey, I'm locked out. Hey, stop driving away. Were you trying to leave me here?
Yeah, I'm in a hurry.
Oh, okay. What, don't tell me you're hungry.
Matt's there, and you know what'll be left after Matt gets done eating.
If you were curious, the answer's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. But how do you feel about your peas?
Yeah, they look okay.
How do you feel about your wheat?
Wheat looks really nice.
How do you feel about your cucumbers, pickling cucumbers, and zucchini?
They're starting to look really nice.
Yeah. How do you feel about your first planting of tomatoes?
That's starting to look really nice.
How do you feel about your first planting of peppers?
They're starting to look nice too.
What about your cabbage, broccoli, and your kohlrabi?
They look nice too.
What about your potatoes?
Potatoes really look nice.
I think Dad thinks everything looks nice. How's your sweet corn?
First planting is getting very nice.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna be picking so much stuff soon. Starting with the peas, probably. I don't know how I feel about that, but I see blossoms over there. Oh boy. For lunch today, it looks like we are having hot dogs and some broccoli salad. Alrighty, we are now all finished off with lunch, and our next job is bringing us here into the greenhouse. We're currently working on filling up pots for mums. Now, this is gonna be a big job because if you guys remember, we need a lot of pots. Like, a lot of pots. And the reason for that is because we're basically gonna fill up every inch of this greenhouse. It's gonna be packed. We got Lily, we got Ronnie, and then we got Miss Callie. How you doing, Callie?
Doing good.
How did you feel about all your chrysalises turning into butterflies today?
Doing great.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, that was crazy.
We are at the farmhouse for dinner tonight, and what are we having, Mom?
We're having a roasted chicken,
Roasted chicken, ooh. We got, what's this, beans?
beans, and stuffing.
Oh my goodness.
It's stovetop.
Stovetop? I don't care. It's gonna be delicious. Alrighty, all the food is now on the table and we are getting ready to eat. You don't see Tracy, because Tracy's on vacation visiting her parents, but everybody else is here. And since everybody's at the dinner table, that means this is where we're gonna end the video today. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.